Okay, YouTube, trying to show you a little bit. Here is what one of my shelves will look like. I need to make 3 of these. My lumber's mostly cut. I wanted to show you how this works out, how I am working it out. So I've got my rails, my front rails cut, and all I need to do is find the crown. And turn it up. Both cases. Then I have my side pieces cut and my braces for the center cut. Put those in place. And then we use a clamp to try to get a hold. Move all this forward a little bit. We're going to be putting screws in, and so we want a solid grip. So we use a clamp, and that will kick everything in the proper place. Then we use our camper bit. Make sure that our pieces are in the proper location. And when you're drilling, just point your finger out straight, and you will more often than not make a perfectly level. We only want the chamfer to go in a little ways. Because we're not trying to sink it that far. Now we get our star bit and screws. Didn't work out so well. Get this in a little more. Harder this time. Now we get a nice snug fit. There's no splitting on the end. and we're very solidly connected. Move down to the other end, where we want to repeat the same procedure. And you don't have to use clamps on this sort of stuff. You can actually hold the pieces in place properly without a clamp. But it's just so much easier to use a clamp. Trying to go too deep with the chamfer. We're just trying to make a nice place for the head of the screw to fit in. Got one side done. The ends anyway. And I'll come back, and I've already done one, so I figured out my measurements. And I will come back and I want to be careful not to turn this over, because if I get it upside down, then I have an issue with my crown. I want to keep my crown up. And that's the most important thing for you to worry about in starting this out. Make sure everything stays square. Make sure everything's flush and even. And then make sure that it's crown up. Now you can, of course, use more clamps. Undo all the pilot bitting first and then come back and screw them all in, but for this video I'm doing them one at a time. Now, there is one piece of equipment that I haven't talked about, and that is a speed square. A speed square is your best friend when you're doing construction, because it will tell you, if at a glance, if the piece of material that you're working on is square, if it is. It will also help you deal with making sure that you get a straight line on your measurements to cut with. I'm actually using my drill as a hammer, which is not really a good idea, but if it's just a couple of taps, you're probably not going to hurt anything. But it's always a good idea to keep a speed square handy to check that your and you can just set it on one edge and push it towards the other. In this instance, it looks like this thing's racking this way on me. You just want to make sure before it is over with that the square is square in the corner, that both sides touch all the way. Then you can add your center braces and be sure that they're going to keep everything square. If you just throw braces in there and don't try to square up, you're going to end up with a racked piece of shelving that is going to be twisted and give you a bad outcome. So it's always a good idea to keep up. Now you should end up with nice flush edges on top. This is the top. We can mark it with a T in every corner so that we know when we're putting this shelving together that that goes up. And it's a good idea to mark your material so that now I have already done one of these, so I know what my measurements are and what they're going to end up being. So I will lay that out and lay out a center point. So that I get an even bracing of the weight of my tank on the center braces. And you don't really have to measure the other side. You can simply let's see, what did I say? 2 foot, 2.5. You can simply screw one side down to the mark, then mark your other side, and use your speed square to tell you when it's in proper alignment. If everything else is square, that will tell you exactly where the other end needs to go. Let's see, I'm going to brace this down. And I'm just lining it up on my center marks. Oops. And in this instance, I'll drill all of them. And then I'll put my screws in all at once too. And once I get all 3 of these shelves built, now of course in the end I'm going to have to wrap them with plywood on top. But once we put the plywood on, then we'll know which is top and bottom. Notice that you don't hear any cracking of wood as they go in, or even as it seats. There are no splits. deconstructing the structural strength of the 2x4 itself. Because we've chamfered it and we've pilot holed it. Now we can flip it around. Of course, keeping the top up. And we can use our speed square to find where the proper measurement is, to center it up. And we can mark both the 2x and the 2x4 side so that we know that those two marks need to come together so that it is in proper alignment when we drill our pilot holes and put our screws in. And back to the pilot bit. Hold it in place. Hold it in place. Right there, I had to move a little bit to avoid a knot. You don't want to try to drill or put a screw right in the middle of a knot because it will crack the board in, even if you've pilot holed it. Snug fit. Everything's lined up, everything's square and flush. Some cracking on this one because it's right on a knot. Seems to settle pretty well. And that's how you put together one of the shelves that are going to be part of this aquarium. Alright, I'll go ahead and finish the rest of this and get this thing put together. Good luck, YouTube.